the dominator. Sometimes we're really intimidated by the dominator. You know, we don't quite know how to handle them. What can we do? They're dominating, they're going on and on, they're kind of talking over other people. How do we handle it? So let's talk through a few techniques. First, the first one I love. I call it compliment, document, and pivot, okay? And the way it works is this. The thought behind it is a lot of times people dominate or they keep talking about one particular issue because they feel like they're not being heard, okay? And our natural inclination, if someone's dominating, is to do what? If she's going kind of on and on about this particular issue, what's my natural inclination? What am I thinking in my head? Would she please shut up, okay? Would you please just shut up, okay? And so really, my desire, my natural inclination is to push on her, to shut her down. Unfortunately, sometimes that can have the opposite effect. Because then she's sitting there, oh, she's not getting it. Well, I need to say it again. And there's kind of this broken record phenomena. So what we're going to do here is the opposite. Instead of trying to shut her down, I'm actually going to start off by kind of complimenting her and repeating what she's talking about. So it's going to sound something like this. So maybe she's bringing up the point about the fact that we need to consider migrating to a Mac platform. And so what's your name? Okay, so Angie, I might say, well, gosh, Angie, you're bringing up such a great point. I'm so glad you brought this up. I don't know that any of us really thought about that, about migrating to that Mac platform. We really need to consider that. I want to be sure we don't lose it, so I want to go ahead and write that out on a flip chart. And so you write it on a flip chart, a whiteboard, something. But I'm letting her know that we've got it. You know, it's important. We're hearing her. Okay, and of course I'm complimenting her in the process. But you know, I'm just wondering, I know that Lori and Stacy might have some ideas about that as well, so I'm just want to see, you know, Lori and Stacy, what are you guys thinking about that? Or do you have different ideas, different suggestions about how we might want to do that? Okay, so now I'm pivoting. I'm pivoting not just to other people, but you see how I'm kind of also opening it up. So we're not just talking about her issue, but I'm asking or inviting other feedback about other suggestions, other issues, okay? So compliment, document, and pivot. I use it all the time. Works really, really well. And again, do you see how I'm balancing task and relationship, okay? I generally always try to start with some sort of complimentary comment instead of shutting her down. Okay? Because if I shut her down, I might have a bigger problem on my hands, you know, particularly depending upon who she is. She's already a dominator, okay? So she's already probably got a more aggressive personality. So compliment, document, and pivot. The second thing is you can ask them for a suggestion. It's amazing to me how often people will come to your session and they'll vent and they'll whine and they'll complain and they'll talk about, oh, it's broken, it won't work, these people are useless. And so again, instead of shutting them down, I might say, well, you know what, I think you're right. You know, I think that process is broken. It does take way, way too long. You know, I'm just wondering, what's your suggestion? You know, what do you think we need to do about that? What should we do differently? And then they're like a deer in headlights. Like, oh, I don't know. You know, I just want to complain. So one of my ground rules at my sessions also was, anytime you voice a complaint, you also must recommend a solution. Okay? So we're not saying, hey, you can't complain, you can't vent, but I'm just saying I want to limit that whining time and I want to move us to something that's more solution-oriented. Okay? The other part of this is I might say, you know what, you're bringing up such an important point. I don't want to shortchange it because I know we're not going to have time to fix it today. What I would prefer to do is ask you, if you wouldn't mind, because I know you feel so strongly about it, would you mind kind of taking this offline and coming up with some suggestions, ideas, and then bringing them back to the meeting next week, and then we can make it first on the agenda next week. Okay? Actually, it'll be second on the agenda because first is going to be reviewing open action items. All right? So again, now we're giving them some responsibility. Okay? It's not just them complaining, but they've actually got to do something. They've got to put some skin in the game. All right? Next, get their support before the meeting. It's amazing to me how often people don't do this. I don't know about you, but in most cases, I know who my problem people are before the meeting. Okay, if I'm gonna have the meeting on Friday, I generally know where I'm gonna run into some problems. So if the meeting's on Friday and I know that, she's gonna be a little bit of a problem, I'm probably trying to take her to lunch on Tuesday, okay? If she's gonna explode and roll around on the floor and foam at the mouth, I'd rather have her do that one-on-one with just me, get it all out, because that also equips me to deal with it. Okay, maybe to come up with an alternate solution before Friday. So I say, get with them beforehand. I've had a lot of success with that particular technique. Also, give them a role. Give them something to do. Sometimes people kind of dominate and they go on and on because they don't really have anything else to do. I know I've had people show up to my sessions and they just kind of put their feet up and kick back and just start complaining and going at it. I say, well, you know what? Hey, would you mind kind of being our timekeeper? Today, we're going to have a lot we're going to go through. Or would you mind being our scribe and jotting down some notes as we go through today? But give them something to do. That can be extremely helpful. Of course, I've mentioned referring to your ground rules. If you don't have some sort of ground rules, you really should do that. They can be immensely helpful. But one of the mistakes that I see people make is they come up with ground rules, they email them out the 1st of January, the beginning of the team, and then you never see them again. Okay? You want to let your ground rules help you. So you want to have them displayed, on a flip chart, on a whiteboard, somewhere where you can refer to them. And usually you'll have some sort of ground rule about balanced airtime if there's one person who's dominating. Of course, if you know there's a hot button issue or there's something that's really going to get the dominator revved up before the meeting, go ahead and put that agenda item as your last item. You want to be able to make your way all the way through the agenda before you get to the big hot ticket item, if at all possible. Another technique is round robin. Anybody used round robin before? Have you used that? That could be really effective. Again, if she's my dominator, she's kind of going on and on, I'm not hearing from other people, I might just say, hey guys, this is such an important point. Thank you so much. I think that's great feedback. Let me write that down. I'm really interested to hear what some other people think. So let's just do a really quick round robin. I just want to go one by one and get a little feedback from each person. And of course, if she's my dominator, I'm going to start over here. So that way, we're going to go all the way around. We're still going to come to her. God bless her. We love her. Okay? Still going to come to her, but now I've instituted a process. So we're going to come to her last. All right? And then, last but not least, if all else fails and you've got a really tight-knit group, I've also had a lot of luck using some sort of gimmick to reinforce the concept of balanced airtime. I've seen some groups where they use like a Nerf football, something like that, where the rule is only, I've seen some husbands and wives do that. Like the person holding the football is the only person who can talk, and that works really, really well, and then they have to throw it to somebody else for them to speak. Anybody use that? I've seen something like that. I see people kind of shaking their head, so yes.